In a distant realm known by its inhabitants simply as home, a group of humans set off to a region known as the Bold Fields on a quest to... What was the quest again? They decided to call this new settlement Frontier. The expedition was co-led by two comrades, Pippin and Acorn, and our settlers quickly began planting roots on a hill just off the coast. In the beginning, there were some struggles, but eventually the expedition started to create a home for themselves. They were even visited by a merchant, but he tried to sell them cat remains, so not much trading was done on that day. Quite quickly, our pioneers decided life was probably better by the coast. Maybe it was the promise of fish, or the fresh oceanside air, but they began to make room by the water for what they were sure was to become a prosperous village. As they got to work, the second part of their expedition caught up with them, led by the brave warrior Yeleni Norbel, bringing food and muscle. Despite a serious lack of housing, the newcomers were welcome to the settlement, and soon they also welcomed the arrival of the very first children, born as frontier natives. Other than the fact that there was no cohesive plan to feed everyone, and nobody knew what they were doing, everything was looking up frontiers. However, it soon became obvious that not everyone in the land was as peaceful as the merchant, and just like that, our brave pioneers found themselves fighting off bandits. Luckily, the bandits were more interested in spanking than anything else, so our people were able to repel them. But the troubles don't end there. Soon after the bandits were repelled, the settlement was also threatened by a Sithnatal Aksan, who tried to fool someone. It didn't work. They died. After a non-zero amount of trouble, our pioneering settlers learned how to process metal, and they were able to make a kitchen, so they could finally process some food. They didn't think of making a fireplace before because, reasons?
I don't know, like you might be able to use the campfire as like a makeshift kitchen before you actually have the kitchen.
I have strong doubts. Unfortunately, once the kitchen was complete, they realized they had nothing to actually cook, and unless they came up with something quick, starvation was soon to follow. The days became hotter, and starvation began to claim its first victim. As the summer rolled in, our settlers decided it was maybe time to actually learn how to farm. And learn they did, constructing a small but beautiful farm. Once the problem of feeding everyone was resolved, our settlers continued expanding what they were now proud and arguably able to call their village. Despite nobody knowing how ships work, or even exactly what a ship is, they created piers stretching out into the waters. Before long, the village was once again beset by foes. Well, a single foe, this time in the form of a lone villain by the name of Camban Herdane. After violently striking down Sam Abnar, he was slain by the concerted effort of our brave villagers. At this point, Yeleni, the town's only warrior, suggested, should we maybe invest in some defenses? To, prevent future Sam Abnar situations? Nah, went someone who had no idea what was coming. And oh boy was it coming. For now, new buildings were being built, the first frontier-born children were becoming adults, the village was conducting trade, and everyone was filled with hope for the future. Seeing the slowly but surely prospering village he founded, Pippin peacefully took his last breath. Perhaps it was for the better. Rather than witnessing what was to come, Pippin died peacefully of old age, surrounded by comrades. Well, surrounded in spirit. They had to keep working. Suddenly, the village was attacked by a pair of rhyming bandits. Seemingly harmless at first, the mourning villagers were not prepared for the prowess of these poetic pirates poised to pick, pillage, and plunder. As summer turned to autumn, many fell defending the village, and the rhyming duo cut down the majority of the settlement's adult population. Of course, Yeleni had to be the one to save the day. Rotting food and corpses littered the street that autumn day, and from then on, the first day of autumn was known as a day of mourning in the village. That is, it would be should the village actually live to see another first day of autumn, which, let's just say, is yet to be seen. Shaken, but not defeated, slowly but surely, the people of Frontier began to recover from the great slaughtering. With the arrival of some orphan children and the discovery of Stoneleaf, a resilient plant which could be turned into high-quality, comfortable, but protective clothing for everyday folks, the future looked full of possibilities once again. Under the leadership of Yeleni, as well as Kit Friend and Ember Comrade, Pippin and Acorn's descendants, the villagers were now not only protected, but they also learned how to tame a most mysterious creature, the cow, after some struggles. Tame the cow. Is she now doing that? Is she going? She's going. Are they tamed now? Do we know if they're tamed? I don't think they're tamed. We got there eventually. Hearing of all the new free real estate, more orphan children joined the village, and now the adults were outnumbered 3-1 by cows and children. With a situation like this, you may think that the villagers finally decided it was perhaps time to focus on the essentials, but you would be mistaken. Instead, it was decided by someone, who knows who that person was, that the most pressing priority was the expansion and renovation of the village tavern. The only person actively trying to convince her comrades to take outside threats more seriously was the veteran Yeleni, one of the only people left alive from the first generation of settlers, a witness to the great slaughtering. She knew just how dangerous bandits could be. Arming herself with a shiny steel war axe she bought from a scowling merchant, she hoped that her people would follow in her footsteps. But alas, her warnings were not heeded. Perhaps this was due to the overwhelming majority of settlers being children, outvoting her pleas for defenses, favoring entertainment, or perhaps everyone just needed a place to drink and forget the horrors of war. But either way, the villagers spent the rest of that autumn building the village's new tavern, which could also double as a town hall. As winter rolled in, our villagers admired the new building they had just unveiled. For those used to small shacks and simple houses, it was a monumental building, complete with multiple floors and built-in storage. The villagers were sure better times were ahead, not knowing just how harsh the winter would get, both in climate and the unwanted visitors the cold would entice to the warm homes of the unwitting settlers. As snow covered the fields and the crops refused to grow, the villagers decided it was time to seek alternate food sources. One had the idea of hunting the local squeakin for meat. That produced mixed results. As many had nothing to do now that the blanket of cold was covering the surface, our settlers looked underground for a chance to improve their lot. Carving a large spiral staircase into the rock, the brave pioneers began exploring the natural caverns that existed long before they ever set foot on this soil. Or were they dug by someone who came before them? And if that's the case, what happened to those people? What mysteries and treasures will the depths reveal? Turns out, mostly copper. However, Yeleni's predictions would soon come true, as lack of food wasn't the only thing threatening our settlers in the winter months. A bandit scout was seen sneaking around one day. Unable to stop him from running away, the villagers braced themselves for further assault, by resuming life as normal. The bandit attack that followed was thwarted with relative ease. Triumphant in defeating the scout's ally, the villagers celebrated. But these celebrations would not last long. Slowly but surely, the winter began to take its toll, and widespread hunger became a part of daily life. The villagers found little joy in their daily labors, and the cold, harsh winter seemed endless as hunger slowly turned to starvation. Looking to distract themselves from the woes of winter, the villagers decided to try befriending some cats. If that's what befriending looks like. It didn't help with the food problem, but at least now there were some cats, which always improves the situation. Unfortunately, this situation couldn't be improved enough to prevent what happened next. Turns out, the villagers were wrong about the bandit scout before. The lone bandit they had defeated was not whom the scout had heralded. The real bandit army had arrived, and they meant business. And by business, I mean the stabby kind. And they weren't too keen on taking prisoners either. Yeleni bravely gave her life to defend her comrades, but it was in vain. The bandits slaughtered everyone, including the cats. Which is an unforgivable crime. I mean, the rest they kind of got away with, but that will haunt them until the day they die. As Jane Jordan drew her last breath on the 10th day of winter, thinking, hey, maybe Yeleni had a point all along, the village of Frontier was at an end. The expedition, with its uncertain goals, did not survive their first year. And for some reason, the end screen wasn't showing the correct information. But all was not in vain. The trials and tribulations of the settlers of Frontier would serve as a warning to other prospective parties seeking to eke out an existence in the wilderness, and perhaps all that was learned will someday be better utilized by someone who comes after them. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this slightly different video. I thought it would be fun to try something new. If you liked it, let me know and I'll try to make more videos like this. I actually thought I'd have it done in a day, but then it ended up taking over a week to make, so it'll definitely need to be more of a special occasion type deal. This was my first Odd Realm town, if that wasn't immediately obvious from some of the hashtag choices I made. And I was originally making this video as a way to sort of highlight my let's play of it, but now I'm not so sure I want to recommend you watch it, cause rewatching it for the creation of this video, boy did I not make the best decisions. But it did make for a fun story, I hope. Otherwise, if I may interest you in my other stuff, I mostly upload let's plays of various city builders and management games, like Odd Realm, but also Foundation, the Universum, and I recently started a playthrough of Dawn of Man and Ostriv, so if you're interested, do check those out. Also, if you're interested, this weekend I'm planning to stream some Odd Realm beta gameplay over on Twitch. The new update adds a whole lot of new stuff which I haven't seen yet, so hit me up and come say hi. I'm planning to start on Sunday at 18 o'clock CEST, that's Central European Summertime, and I'll probably be going for a couple hours. Link to the Twitch, that's a hard thing to say. Link to the Twitch is in the description. I might also be playing some other games on Twitch at other times, so feel free to drop by anytime you see me online. I think that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to chat with you on Sunday. Goodbye!